Hi everybody, I am Ingi from Tarot Ingi and I'm doing a deck review. The only thing is, it's actually my own deck, so it probably won't be very objective. I thought I'd do an unboxing video though. I've ordered a couple of these today. I'm going to get sent to some of my friends. And I'm going to give you the link where you can buy your own. It comes in two sizes. A little box like this is a mini deck. I'm going to show you both, and this is standard size. This is a perfect deck for beginners. So this is the Elder Futhark runes. Let the old alphabet guide you. This is one of the oldest alphabets in the world, and it was deciphered by a linguistic called Sophus Bugge. But in the olden days, farmers and usually peasants, they could read with runes. They taught priests, they taught the higher classes how to do this, but this was something that they knew among them. They already had deciphered the runes, and then it got deciphered again more in modern time, even though it happened a long time ago. So these usually they're just stones, and these I have engraved them, but I haven't painted them, so you probably can't see this is T-Boss. But they are amazingly beautiful, sacred. They will connect you to your intuition. They will develop your intuition. It's not easy reading the stones in some ways because you're casting them. You have to really follow your intuition. So these are for more beginners to develop your understanding of the runes, because I have written down the meaning. So let's unbox here. You get a little booklet. There's a little booklet with basic upright and reverse. But if you really want to learn the runes, perhaps get a book. Learn a little bit about the mythology, because these runes, this is just the back, they actually are connected to the old Norse gods and goddesses and their stories and mythology. Okay, I thought I'd describe a little bit about how this deck came about first. It is a joint project between me and Dominic Alcorn. He's another artist and we meet up every Tuesday. We work on our ideas, we work on our projects, and we decided to make this deck. And we worked on the pictures, the meaning. We made it into a widget. And now we're turning it into an app. So if you go to tarotingi.com, you can read, you can actually give yourself a free reading using this deck here. There's 3 different spreads to choose from: the Rainbow Bridge, Freya's Soulmate spread, and the 9 Worlds, the Yggdrasil spread. So this deck here, it's 3 keywords. And sometimes, because in the small deck, I only have 1 keyword. I'll show you here. Just 1 keyword. Here it says security. And here it says 3 different keywords, and they're all accurate. When you start reading with the runes, you learn what it means in all different kind of areas. But the real essence of Otala, for example, is security. So that's what I put on here. Let's go through them one by one. Fehu. So I want to hold them here. Fehu. Wealth, luck and power. So we made a lot of gold there. And so it's actually Fehu on top of a treasure chest of gold. But Fehu really means movable wealth as well. So sometimes when people aren't very wealthy, maybe in money, if they get a lot of Fehu energy around them, it means that they are actually very wealthy in something that they can turn into wealth. So they have resources. So maybe they have a skill that is much needed, that they can travel with wherever they go. They will be able to do that skill and earn good money for themselves. So it's movable wealth as well. Maybe they are earning passive income. Maybe they have a grand idea that there's a huge need for, that they can sell online, for example. It's often something you can take with you with Fehu. And we chose to put in a treasure chest here. Urus. Strength, vitality, manifestation. So this is really when you need to keep going even when you don't want to, because you come too far to stop now, and there's something inside you as well that is like this ox. You see that ox? And you see all the energy around Urus, the sign Urus here. It means that there's something inside of you that's unstoppable and you're unable to maybe control it very much, especially if you try and stop it. If you try and stop it, it will get out of control. You need to channel it. So it can be ambition, for example. It can be feel like uncontrollable sometimes. But maybe the ambition you meant to actually channel it into something really productive and very something that's incredibly important and meaningful to you. And it's not meant to put you over the edge, but you meant to channel this into something meaningful and productive. But it's something that if you try and stop it, that's when it could probably be a problem as well. So it's something you can use for good. It's always here something you can use for good. When you get Urus reverse, it could be that maybe you're afraid of your own ambition, for example. Let's say use that as an example. Maybe you're competitive and you're afraid of that. You think you shouldn't be so competitive, and you start kind of trying to stop yourself, and it ends up reversed. And then maybe you are self-sabotaging yourself, so you end up with a bit of apathy and fatigue and things like that. Maybe also you've had some health issues that stops you as well from achieving things. So then you see Urus often reversed. Okay, the next one is Therizas. Sorry, it's not an easy one to pronounce. And it's defense, boundaries, resistance. So it can be both a little bit positive, a little bit negative. It is definitely about staying safe, and that you need to know that you deserve safety. You don't have to sacrifice yourself. You don't have to sacrifice yourself when it comes to safety. Your safety is the most important thing when it comes to like situations. So you don't have to be in relationships where you're not safe. You don't have to be in a place where you're not safe, and sometimes we are actually in situations where we're not safe. But then we can still do things that make us as safe as possible. Like if your job is a dangerous job, there will be a lot of things you can put in place to make it as safe as possible. So it actually speaks of those things. And sometimes it's like that we know when to say no. We know when to stop. We don't have to say yes to every opportunity. We don't have to jump on board every adventure. We can say no. Okay, Ansus, communication, wisdom, and reason. This is speech. In my little deck, I wrote just speech. So you can see the little deck here. Speech. You see how small it is in comparison. It's just a tiny little deck. And it means communication, but often you see here the hands are kind of coming down. This is someone who gives a lot of themselves. So this is where you give and you give, and you often give. You give by speaking, you give through like your life experiences, you bring reason to the table, you bring logic and reason to the table. And it's actually a very positive rune, but you often then when it shows up and it's you coming as a little bit of an authority. This is connected to Odin. So it's a bit of, you can actually have a bit of gift of the gab, and you can talk yourself out of, if you're in a very tricky situation and you get this, it means, this rune here, it means you have the talent and the gifts to talk yourself out of this situation. Rhino. So here we see a horse in the background and a bit of rain. So it's a bit of cleansing as well. It talks about the right action, doing the right thing, the right procedure. But it also means traveling and going places and moving. It can mean astral travel. The Rhino here is actually Sleipnir here, the horse. So it's a horse that can travel through all dimensions. So when this shows up, maybe you will be taken out of your comfort zone. Maybe you will be doing some astral traveling. It can also speak of your vehicle, to keep your vehicle, your actual physical vehicle, your car, in good order, especially if you get it reversed. Maybe do a bit of a safety check on your car. Kenas. This is my favorite one. I love this one. It's so beautiful. It's an eye inside. The Kenas is like a V on the side. That's how it looks. But it actually looks so beautiful. It's an eye inside of a lamp, and someone is holding up the lamp. So it's like you are seeing, you have insight, you have passion to see, you want to see, you have skill, you have knowledge, you're learning, you're actually developing yourself. So it is a very positive rune to get. And then we have Gebo, which is about being in balance, actually. You have 2 equal sticks, creating an X. And that means that things are in the right order as well. It's like you don't give or take more than you should. And it also speaks of your gifts. It speaks of doing honorable things, like having honor in your life. It speaks of the correct kind of way for you to carry yourself, in the sense that you honor yourself. It also speaks of marriage, and often speaks of a very strong relationship with 2 people who are very good together. They bring out the best and they support each other. And then you have Wunjo, which is a very happy rune. It's joy, perfectionism and optimism. The only time it becomes a bit negative is when the strive to perfection gets too far. And sometimes you see that with Wunjo, it just wants everything to be perfect. It's kind of like 10 of Cups. Very happy card, but it's like that the need for perfection can sometimes dampen the joy. But joy and optimism, often happiness in family with this rune. So this is not really a deck review. I'm going through the cards. I of course think it's a very cool deck. So Hagalas means hail, hardship, obstacles. When it shows up, you need to have a look at where there's like a storm brewing, and maybe you can avoid it if it can give you a bit of a heads up as well, like there's a storm brewing, and maybe you don't have to be in the middle of the storm, you know. You need to safeguard yourself. So the runes will give you some good advice as well. And then you have Naughties, and Naughties shows up when people are very practical, to the point of it's almost becoming like they live for just the practical, but they need to learn to go above the practical. So it's chores. It's like getting really OCD about the chores, and maybe things that are maybe they need to take some more time to bring in the enjoying of life as well. But things also has to be done. So this is taking care of your necessities. But it often shows up in the seeker field. Maybe there's a need that they're not getting fulfilled, but it's often something on the inside that's stirring a little bit. So go and have a look at what it is that's stirring the inner peace, so that you feel like you always have to be busy doing things, like kind of a little bit like an escape, you know. Isa. So this one, it shows up as just ice. It means ice. Things are now frozen, which can seem maybe a little bit negative. But I find with this rune, it gives you the opportunity to start and manifest something amazing in your life that you can't do if you are very busy and everything is happening. If you get invited to every event, if you have people knocking on your door every day wanting to hang with you, if you have so much going on in your life, you're traveling up in your career, like you are all over here and there, and everything is happening for you, which is the next rune actually, it's year up, that's when that is happening. But when I say none of that is happening, it gives you the time to create in your life. So this will give you time to create and work on yourself, rest and contemplate. But especially if you are a creative person, this will give you the time and space to create. So Yira is the hectic energies when everything is happening. It's when you are in high demand and things are happening for you. You have put a lot of things into place, and it's like the snowball. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That is Yira. So you need to be in good shape when Yira shows up, because there's a lot of harvest to be done, and also preparation for the next season. I'm from a line of farmers and fishermen. They were constantly in harvest and preparation mode. And that is basically, they were so busy, they had no time, they had no downtime. It was constant work for my ancestors. And I love listening to the stories, how they had to, like, here's one story that I love. They were herding their cattle. And this is in the Arctic part of Norway, so I'm not really sure how they managed all of this. But they managed to keep the cattle alive during the winter season because they had food storage. And they harvested all that during summertime. The cattle would be out in the fields in summertime, and they were herding the cattle and knitting jumpers and stuff and clothes for themselves at the same time. So they were constantly multitasking. There was no downtime, and when there were quiet times on the farm, they were fishing, out on the boats, fishing. So there's no downtime. Everybody's working, everybody is doing something, and when there is a little bit of downtime, then they would spin the wool and prepare the wool for clothes, so they could make their clothes, basically. That is Yera. So Yera, if you want to be successful and you want to have a lot of projects going, Yera is it's actually a very good rune to have. Depends a little bit on your personality. So Eva's here, lessons in initiation, endurance. On my tiny little deck here, I just called it endurance because to me Evas is like, it's like when you have to be strong. When you need to develop strength, you'll get Evas. So you can't have all the things you want in your life if you haven't got a level of strength to stay on top of things and to manage things. And there's a lot of lessons attached, and that often wants to teach you how to enjoy life, be grateful for life. It's initiations as well. So if you asked for something, for example, you want certain abilities, you want certain experiences, for you to have those often comes with a bit of an initiation. And I believe the initiation has to do with whether or not you will see through with things. So let's say you want to have a business, for example. Maybe there will be a bit of a lesson in initiation if you will be able to stick it through. Maybe sometimes what we're asking for is going to be not for our highest and best because we're not ready for it, and it can be a timing issue, and often it has to do with maturity as well, and maybe the initiation is to see if we are mature enough and ready for what we're asking for. So that's when Evas is showing up. Pertro, this is a good rune to get for divination, the diviners out there, because this really speaks of, it's actually a cup. If you hold it like this, it becomes a cup, and they used to use a cup in gambling, like a dice cup, and also to cast the runes as well. So it's a symbol of both gambling and divination. But what it has in common is that you're asking for something, and you often will get something unexpected. You're taking a chance on something. Even if you're asking the runes, you're still taking a chance on the runes to give you an answer. And it's often unexpected as well. It's something that you have to put a bit of faith into it. You're not going to know what the answer is. So when this shows up, it can be a sign that the answer that you will get will be a little bit unexpected. And that you are not, it's a good time now to do a bit of reading around things and see if you can develop those skills to be able to open up to things that maybe you didn't think was possible for you. Okay, so Algis, this is, I think, my favorite rune. It reminds me of the Temperance Tarot card, and I love that card as well. Algis speaks of your spiritual team, your higher self. It's like a blessing. In the other deck, I wrote blessing because it is a blessing, but sometimes a blessing is hard to break as well. So if you want to change your life, but something in your life is a blessing and you want to change it, but it is a blessing as well, then it's very hard to change. It's always harder to change a blessing or break a blessing than a curse, actually. So, but overall, I think that Algis is a very good card. It's just that sometimes people, they reach some kind of limit, or a limit they put on themselves, and they feel very grateful for what they have. and they're really ready to go beyond a lot of their own limitations, but the fact that they feel very blessed sometimes stops them. So you can feel blessed and still grow. That's a good belief to have. So when this card is showing up, it is often a blessing about to happen in your life, a gift of some kind. Perhaps you will see something and understand something and open up a channel for you to get some real spiritual answers to questions that maybe have been bothering you, or issues that maybe have held you back for a long time. So Algis is ultimately there to set you free. It's a bird foot, so it really means for you to take flight. So as you can see, there are two birds there as well. And the birds are actually watching over a nest, and Algis is coming out of the nest. So the birds represents your spiritual team. You are their baby, but you are also a flame as well, and you will continue to burn, and you will continue to grow, and they are always watching over you. So you have to also let go a little bit of self-doubt and self-limitations when Algis is showing up. And now we get to the real success rune. So Willow, success, confidence, goals. When this card is showing up, you are very much on track. You will be successful. The sun is shining on you. So this is connected to the sun deity. And it's just as the sun in the tarot card speaks of success, so Willow speaks of success as well. So it's pretty straightforward. It's like the big yes card, or yes rune. So Tivas, perhaps similar to a little bit to the Emperor, connected to the god Tyr. And basically Tyr sacrifices hands so that we could live. Sacrifice his hand to the monster Fenris, so they could chain him up so he wouldn't destroy and kill everybody. So that's there is actually a bit of the Hanged Man and the Emperor in this one, but the Emperor actually, there is sacrifice in the Emperor tarot card as well. But it's doing the right sacrifice. So when you get this reverse, you're probably sacrificing too much, or you're not willing to make sacrifices. So let's say you want something. Let's say you want a certain career or a certain outcome in your financial situation. That means often you have to make some other sacrifices as well. You have to make some sacrifices. It means even if it's your time, that you're just sacrificing time, you normally do other things. Now you're focusing it on your work, on your ideas, things like that. If you want a relationship, so let's say you're single and you want a relationship, you have to sacrifice some of your freedom, some of your singlehood comforts. And if you want a family, you want kids, there are sacrifices in life all the time. But it's about making the sacrifices that you really want to make, and doing the right thing. This is also about honor as well, and that you can live with your decisions, basically. It's about justice. So it's about being the person with integrity that you want to be, so that you can like yourself and live with the decisions you made. And if you feel like you can't live with the decision you made, then that is what you need to come to terms with, so you can love yourself and like yourself and get along with yourself. Because if not, life will be very difficult. So Berkana is really a positive, very positive rune. It speaks of being a seed, and you're being planted into the earth, and this little seed has unlimited potential. It holds a lot of energy. It's a miracle when you think of it. This tiny little seed, it will grow out of the earth, grow big roots, grow into the sky. I mean, it's an absolute miracle. And anyone who loves gardening knows that there is a life force that runs through everything. It's just not possible for all this to happen without there being energy making it possible. So this speaks of the energy that makes you possible, that makes your potential possible. So it is actually about becoming. If you want to have children, it's a very positive card as well, because it's about the seed within that can grow into a new human. So, but if you are just from a self-development point of view, it's you every day you're born again with a new set of opportunities and possibilities. So start writing down every opportunity that showed up for you. And let's say you're in a bit of a rush, especially then it's important to do this. Go through the day. Write down when there's something that's a bit unique and special that happened, and start writing them down. Believe me, your life will transform. Once you start noticing all of these things, it will happen more and more. Of course, it's like that initiation in EVAs. Once, you are showing that you really appreciate, and this is really bringing you joy and satisfaction and fulfillment. God, the creator of all, your spiritual team, your ancestors wants to give you more and more and more. And your higher self too. Your higher self who's watching over you as well will see, I'm appreciating life, I'm ready to receive more. So we do exist on more than one level. EVAs. So this is partnership. It is it's a partner. It can be a partner, it can be business partner, it can be, it's actually means horse. And horse was people's partners. People relied on horses a lot for everything, for travel, for farming. It was a real partnership there. So it's a partner that you really rely on in life. It might not be a horse anymore, but it's something in your life where there is a life form that you really rely on. So it often speaks of a partner or someone in your life that you rely on. And it is a lot of cooperation between you because you both need each other. And it can also be business partnerships and colleagues or friends that you really rely on. But there's a need to cooperate here. And the better you cooperate and the more loyal you are to each other, the better your life will be. So manas here is humans, hierarchy, awareness. So with us humans, we are organized in societies, we are organized in different cultural groups. There's a hierarchy within our society and our cultural groups. This speaks of all of that. And the more you're aware of how you operate within the hierarchy, and you also have a plan for what you want for yourself, often then you can start focusing your mind to achieve your goals as well. But when this catches up as the answer to your question kind of thing, it often means that there is like a structure, a man-made structure that made this how it is. So maybe you need to play a little bit on the political side without being a politician, but in every workplace there is politics. Even in every family there's a bit of politics. So it's like understanding the politics of things. When it's reversed, it can actually mean then non-man-made structures. It can mean like weather conditions and and things like that. Or that it's just something collapsing that is like a human structure. That's just not perhaps working at all. Lagus is this one means creativity, imagination, emotions. It's a lot of shine in this one, so I can't really, but you can see it's underwater basically. So it's your subconscious. So when it shows up like this, it means it's a lot of flow. I don't know if you can see it properly. Can't show it to you very well on there, but yeah, it's a lot of flow, and you feel perhaps very connected to creator, source energy. Maybe you feel like you want to write a book, maybe you want to draw pictures, maybe, this is kind of like Ace of Cups, The more you live in a positive and the more forgiveness work you do as well, the better you will connect to Lagus. When Lagus is reversed, it becomes poison. Maybe it's like drinking alcohol, which to some extent I do as well. But when it becomes like a real poison to your system, or thoughts that poison you, a person who's a poison to you, something that is poisonous to you, that blocks then all of your creativity, all of your imaginations, and all of your happy, good, positive emotions become toxic when it's reversed. And this is then 7 of Cups reversed. So this is also connected a little bit to 7 of Cups. So, in Goose, this is perhaps the most positive of all the runes. And also Velo as well is very positive. But when Ingus is showing up, think of it as Feng Shui. Think of it as walking into a room where the Feng Shui is absolutely perfect. The energy is perfect. The alignment of everything is perfect. Your energy will be boosted in this space. Everything is just amazing. That is what Ingus does to your rune reading. So when you cast the runes, let's say you cast the stones and maybe it all looks pretty negative, but then Ingus is there, upright, it brightens up the reading. So even if it's a bit negative, you have to read it in the most positive way you can read with the runes. So maybe it's then the end of hardship rather than hardship showing up. So Ingus here, it actually speaks also of kind of a paradise that is. Think of a realm, a realm that exists that we can't see, where all the fairies and all the unicorns and all the magical animals live in harmony with each other, where there is absolutely pure bliss and happiness. Think of it as an energy, a place like that, where it's just all about nature, where it's all about very high vibration that doesn't exist on this planet at all, but it's a different plane of existence. Think about the fairies that would live there, who are very sensitive. Sensitive energy will thrive in a positive environment. That is Ingus, so it actually will brighten up your reading. And when it shows up in your life, it's an opportunity for you. When it speaks of like a situation in your life, it's an opportunity for you to brighten up your life in a very positive way and make it more magical. And it also speaks of fertility because it makes you more fertile and healthier. So it's also like everything will grow, everything will blossom. Everything will blossom in this energy. So you will blossom. You will be your personality will just be bubbly and happy. And if you want to have children, this is good with Berkano as well, because it is that you blossom and everything can take life. Life force is rushing through your veins, If people that have a lot of life force and a lot of life, and they love everything that's living, they often do really well with plants and animals. They often want to work with plants and they often want to work with animals. They are obsessed with nature often, and they just want to work with nature in some way. That's why this rune also speaks of agriculture and animals. Dagas, this is a new day. So it's the sun coming up, and you see the rays, it's like flames. It's like a massive breakthrough coming. Here's the mountain, it's been blocking the sun. Now it's a major breakthrough. So if there's been some kind of deception, if there's been something that has not been great, like maybe something has just been like banging your head against a brick wall kind of situation. Dagas will say now there will be a major breakthrough, an awakening for you as well, and a new beginning in your life. So that whole stale energy is about to end. So Dagas is a very spiritual rune as well. It's a little bit like Algis actually. It's a little bit of that spirituality coming and your spiritual team taking over a little bit to help you so that you can move forward in your life. So it's a blessing basically. And then Otala, your homeland, your spiritual power, and can often mean property, because people are often very security minded with Otala. So that was not really a deck review, but I went through the runes now, so you can see how if you use these with a set of runes, rune stones, and maybe you also want to use rune cards on a rune, like these miniature cards on a rune table, and I've done a video how to do that. I want to sell this I'm going to be selling. I want to make several of these and sell on my Etsy store. So this rune table here, it really just works well with, you can put them on all these different spots. So I'm going to keep making these, but yeah, that was my deck review. I hope you liked it, guys. Bye.